I'm so thankful to be here with you. We're going to do a totally different format today, so we're going to start standing. You will definitely want a wall or a chair nearby, as well as a ball to roll under your feet. So we can go ahead and just get into hands on a wall or on a chair and walk back with the outer edges of your feet straight, ankles about hip distance apart. And then from here, you'll just back your hips up with nice long arms and then bend your elbows and rock towards your toes. And tuning into your breath here. Super straight legs. If you tend to clench, relax clenching. And I'm extra thankful to be here today because it's just my life has been busy lately. I mean, it's usually busy for a lot of people during this summertime. I'm also moving, which you will see very soon. And so I find that in these times when I just have so much to do, it's more important than ever to stop and do things like this for self-care. Next time you go back with your hips, start to move your hips side to side a little bit, tuning into your breath. One thing I learned through the practice of meditation and from my meditation teacher is that if you take that time away, even 10 minutes, 15 minutes, in this case an hour, which is even better, away for self-care, you will come back to being busy so much more productively, and you'll actually get more done than if you didn't take the time. And I have, since I really learned that and put that into practice a decade ago, I have found it to be true over and over again. So it's just a good rule of life to remember how important self-care is. All right, let's come to center with our hips, push down through the backs of our legs, and we'll grab whatever you're going to use for a calf stretch. We're going to do 3 different directions. We're going to do foot turned out to the side, pigeon-toed foot in, and outer edge of the foot straight. Let's actually start with foot turned in. So go ahead and put your foot up, turn your right foot in, and then with your right foot turned in, you can step your left foot back or forward a little. Pay attention to the alignment of your outside foot. And then from here, you're just going to purposely push your hips forward. But as you push your hips forward, notice, do your knees want to start softening and bending? That's really common. It actually happens over decades of someone who stands with their hips forward. All of a sudden, the knees will start very slightly bending. So try to push your hips forward, but straighten your legs all the way. And then just back your thigh bones up to hips over heels. And slide forward and back up. And slide forward and back up. And shift forward and back up. And then with your weight back over your heels, your foot pigeon-toed, you're just going to slide your hips side to side. And you're not going very far. When you're going forward and back, you're just going like the length of your foot from toes to heel. In this case, you're just drifting your weight to one hip and then to the other hip and feeling how that changes the motion of your calf muscles. So go slow enough that maybe you can feel that. And then come back to center and sweep your arms up and pull your arms straight back and reach up and sweep back and reach up and sweep back and reach up. Oh, feels good to reach up and sweep back. Feels good to sweep back and relax and turn your foot slightly out to the side. You can step your outside foot forward or back. And then from here, hip shift forward, 2 super straight legs, hips over heels. So let's say, as we're doing these little motions, which we're going to do a lot of, little motions because a lot of times it's the little motions we're missing, as well as it's the little motions that can also create the most issues in our body. Like if we're always standing with our hips shifting forward, it's usually not that big of a shift to back them up, but it makes a huge difference over time for your feet, your knees, your hips, your pelvic floor, your lower back. All right, then from here, let's go side to side. So that's why little motions are so important. But let's say that you're doing these little motions and you're like, oh, I feel a little discomfort, like when I go to one side around my knee or when I'm shifting my hips forward in my lower back. Do less, but what you're actually figuring out is that if you feel that sensation, that discomfort regularly, you're probably going there quite often without realizing it and overloading your joints in that way. Come to center and circle your arms up and down. Breathing. So you can be more aware of, oh, I'm shifting my hips forward all the time. I'll give you an example in a moment. Okay, go to outer edge of your foot straight, ankles hip distance apart. So let's say as you're going nice and slow and you shift your hips forward, you feel some pulling in your inner knee that's familiar to you. It might be that your hips are just slightly tucked under and forward all the time when you're not paying attention. Same thing with the lower back area. As you go forward, if you're like, ooh, I do feel that issue once in a while when I'm doing stuff. So it's in some ways, it's like you're being a detective of your body. And if you're not feeling anything uncomfortable, then great. Just keep on moving in gentle ways more often. All right, next time your hips are back over your heels, shift your hips from side to side. Relaxing any clenching. 2 straight legs, keeping your feet nice and stable. And then let's switch feet all the way. So pigeon toe, your opposite foot. You can step your outside foot forward or back. Mix it up. Don't always go to the same place. And then from here, shift your hips forward and back. You might discover, oh, I need to do less of this motion all the time. But you also might discover, oh, I need to do more of this motion more often. Or I need to go further. If you just push a little bit forward and you have discomfort, maybe go all the way forward to get the stretch, but most of the time go back to hips over heels. With hips over heels, shift your hips side to side. Feel the center of your left heel on the floor. Keeping the heel and the ball of your foot pretty steady as you shift your hips a little bit side to side. And then pause and reach your arms up and pull them back and reach up. Feel the sides of the rib cage and pull back and reach up and pull back and reach up and pull back. And then from there, turn the outer edge of your foot out. You can step your outside foot forward or back any amount. And from here, hips push forward and hips over heels. Hip shift forward, 2 very straight legs, and back up a little. And then with your hips over heels, side to side shifting. By the way, just with your feet on the floor, you can even turn your feet into different positions. This is a great movement to do anytime while you're waiting, standing around, exploring what's going on around your ankles, your knees, your hips. And of course, you can go much slower. And if you find something in particular, you could stay at that angle and see, and then go over to the other side and see what's going on there. And come back to center and circle your arms up and down and reach out and up and down. Reach out and up and down. And reach out and up and down. And then put the outer edge of your foot straight. And from here, hip shift forward and slowly hips over heels. And hip shift forward and back up. Hip shift forward and back up. And hip shift forward and back up. Hips over heels, slide the hips side to side. If you find a particular angle, sometimes we just get so into like, I'll just almost forget and I'll just be unconsciously doing this and I'm not really paying attention to how it feels. So keep coming back to paying attention because that's the key to helping your body feel great in the long run. And then you can stay. You hit an angle and you're like, oh yeah, this is exactly the angle my body needs. Okay, you can step off of there. You can move that block out of the way. Grab your ball, roll it. Actually, first we'll just do pressure points. So put the ball underneath the center ball of your foot and just sink in any amount. The farther your foot is forward next to your other foot, the more pressure. You can step it back for less pressure. If you want to sit down for a little while, you can do this sitting down. But with the ball underneath the ball of your foot, move over to the inner arch. And you can keep your feet straight. I'm just turning so you can see and sink into the center of your inner arch. Pressure is okay. A little bit of discomfort is okay, but not a lot of discomfort. If you feel pain, you don't want to push down in that area, move and go someplace else. And then sink into the outer edge of the foot, right along the outer edge of the foot. Just let the ball sink in there. You can shift your weight and let it sink down a little more. 2 straight legs. Relax, clenching in the feet muscles. And then go right to the front of the heel. Right in the front of your heel, there's a little, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but right in the front of your heel, put the ball there, and then we'll roll side to side across the front of the heel. And then you can pause anywhere and just let it sink in to the front of the heel, that little area right at the front of the heel, indentation almost. And then slide the ball back to the ball of your foot or forward and roll side to side across the ball of your foot. From big toe to pinky toe side. While you're doing this, check, what's the alignment of my other leg? Is my foot straight? Are my hips over my heels? Am I letting my hip drift out to the side? You could even work on neutral rotation of your standing leg thigh bone. All right, let's do stripes. Start at the base of your big toe, roll down to the front of the heel, and roll back up to the second toe. And roll down, and back up to the third toe. And press down, back up to the fourth toe, roll down, and then go back to the pinky toe and roll down on the very outer edge of the foot. And then roll the ball any way that feels good under your foot. If you didn't finish those stripes because I was going too fast, finish your stripes first. Let's say when we did pressure points, you noticed, ooh, the outer edge of my foot or the inner arch of my foot. You can stay there in that area and just roll up and down a little bit. All right, let's switch feet. So stand and let the ball just pressure right under the center of the ball of the foot. And you can play with your toes relaxing down, lifting your toes to straight. You often feel when you lift your toes to straight, there'll be more pressure under there. And then go over to the inner arch. Just gave myself a good idea for something to do later. Hopefully I'll remember it later. And then go to the outer edge of your foot and sink in there. And then go right to the front of the heel and sink in there and roll side to side across the front of the heel. And you can stop anywhere and just sink in there. And then take the ball back to the ball of the foot and roll side to side there. Check on the alignment of your standing leg, edge of the foot straight, ankle under the hip, hips over heels. All right, start at the top base of the big toe, roll down to the front of the heel, and go back up to the second toe. And roll down, back up to the third toe. Roll down, back up to the fourth toe, roll down, back up to the fifth toe, and roll down. And then roll the ball any way that feels good for you. Again, you can stay in a certain area. Sometimes it's the outer edge of my foot. Sometimes I don't feel the outer edge of my foot very much, which indicates not feeling the outer hips very much, but I also know that I feel my inner thighs too much. So a lot of the times I'll work on that inner arch of the foot. All right, from there you can roll that ball out of the way, and then you can come back to the back of your chair, and we're going to do double calf stretch. So whatever you have, 2 thin blocks, a rolled up towel, you can roll up your mat, you can roll up a blanket, and you're gonna put your feet up on it with your feet pigeon-toed, and you're gonna fold forward to the chair, the back of the chair or the wall, just less than halfway, and we're gonna do the same rocking motion forward and back here. But the difference is now both of our feet up, and we're in a slight forward fold at the hip, slight hip flexion. Relaxing, clenching. Next time your hips or backs over your heels, go side to side. Nice and slow. Feel the motion, feel the transition of the pull in your muscles. And then come back to center, and either with the wall at your side or with your hands on the chair, with your feet pigeon-toed, you're gonna do heel raises here. The very first thing you wanna pay attention to a lot is as you go up and down, do your ankles twist, anywhere from a little bit to a lot. And you wanna try to press equally through the balls of the feet so there's no twist in the ankles. And then the next piece of the puzzle, work on the first piece a lot. If you find that you have some ankle twist, the next piece is trying to go up and down without pitching forward. Like you can see my body's going forward. I'm gonna try to just pitch forward a little bit less. Not easy to do, but the less you pitch forward, the more work you'll feel in your calf muscles. And I actually find it's easier to help myself not pitch forward when I have my hands in front of me than onto the side of me. It takes a lot more leg work and calf work to not pitch yourself forward, because then you're lifting the weight of your body instead of pitching it forward. And you will definitely feel the difference one day, if not today. All right, from there, let's go ahead and turn our feet out to the side. And back your hips up a little bit, and hips, thigh bones go forward and back from a slight forward fold. Lower belly relax, neutral spine, so you can pay attention to your tilt of your rib cage. And next time your hips are over your heels, side to side. If you find that one outer hip or IT band is feeling more tense, you can stay there and try to relax and take a couple breaths. And then come back to center and step off of there, and with your feet turned out to the side, you're going to press down and do your heel raises. Press equally through the balls of the feet. And it's just slowly over time, it's almost like, oh, I'm doing a little less pitching, because all of a sudden it's like a lot more work. And I can feel more work, not only in my calf muscles, but all the way up my legs when the hips aren't pitching forward or the ribs aren't pitching forward. Because part by part, you start being able to lift more of your body weight. And at first, you just have to build a basic amount of strength where you're just gonna be pitching forward for a while. And I'll have people tell me, like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been doing this for a year and I'm not feeling like it's more work. And then all of a sudden it hits them that they were pitching forward, they didn't realize it. because it's really challenging when you get your body straight up and down to lift more of your body weight. Okay, and then put the outer edges of the feet straight, back your hips up, and a little bit forward and back here. Relax any clenching along the front of the thighs, breathing here. And then next time your hips are back over your heels, little side to side shift here. All right, last but not least, outer edges of feet straight. Watch that ankle spin and try to go more straight up and down. And sometimes when you get your weight back, you can just do these like baby lifts of your heels. All right, keep your right foot forward, step your left foot back. Right foot forward, left foot back. You can take anywhere from a smaller to a larger step. Roll off to the ball of your foot and roll back down. This is what is supposed to be happening with walking. If our shoes are not too stiff, our foot rolls and roll back down. But when we're walking, we roll all the way to our big toe and roll part by part down and roll up all the way to the big toe. Push down through your front hip, flex your ankle. And then every time you can step back and roll your foot down. So if you need more balance support, that's going to be it. Or you can roll off, push down, and do a top of the foot stretch. And then flip your foot back over, roll down, lift up, and push off into a balance pose. Or you can just go from a top of the foot stretch to a balancing. Top of the foot stretch to a balancing. Top of the foot stretch. Hold, roll a little bit side to side from big toe to pinky toe side of the foot. You can always put a cushion or a towel under your foot. Check the alignment of your standing leg. And then push down to step that foot forward, balance. And one more time, take that left foot back. Stay, maybe you have your chair in front of you with your right foot forward, hinge forward, back your hips up, and same thing here. Can you go forward and back without either knee bending? Hip shift forward and back. Hip shift forward and back. Hip shift forward and back, keeping the hips back, side to side. Take your time, not a very wide shift. You're just going a little bit to one side, a little bit to the other side, trying to straighten your legs all the way, front and back. And then come to center and switch feet. So left foot forward, right foot back. First, just roll onto the ball of your foot. Feel the rolling action of your foot. Roll onto the ball of your foot. Roll back down. Roll all the way to the tip of your big toe. You might notice it's different on one side than the other. And roll back down. Roll up to the tip of your big toe. Push down through your hip. Flex your ankle. Every time you can put your foot back, roll your heel down, and then roll back up and push down and bring your foot forward. Or you can take your foot back, go to a top of the foot stretch, and then flip your foot over and roll up and press down. Or you can just go from top of the foot to balancing, to top of the foot and balancing. Top of the foot, hold, roll side to side from big toe to pinky toe side of the foot. Eventually, even this stretch starts to feel good, at least some of the time. Check on the alignment of your standing hip and standing leg. See how my hip likes to go out to the side? And there are certain little indicators I can feel around my hip and my knee when it starts doing that. All right, and then push down through that foot, swing it forward to balance, and then take it back again. Left foot forward, right leg back. And then from here, you're gonna rotate your hips forward, maybe rest your hands on a wall or a chair, and shift your hips forward and back. 2 very straight legs. Hip shift forward and back. Very small motion. Hip shift forward and back. Hip shift forward and back. And then keeping the hips back a little side to side here. My body is definitely enjoying this and saying, more of this, please. All right, bring your hips to center, press up, step your back foot forward. With your feet hip distance apart, sit back into a chair pose, reach your arms up. Press up to stand, step your feet a little wider, sit your hips back, and press up. Walk your feet a little wider, sit your hips back, and press up, and walk your feet a little wider, and sit your hips back, and press up. Right arm goes up and over, side bend, left arm up and over. You can definitely work on neutral rotation of the thigh bones here as you go side to side. Breathing. One more time with the right arm, one more time with the left arm, and then interlace right pinky finger on the back. Hug your elbows in, lift your hands any amount, reach them back. Lower your hands down, switch the crossing of your fingers, elbows hug in, lift and reach back any amount. And then open your arms to the sides, turn your belly button to the right, but pull your left hip slightly back to the left. Turn your belly button to the left, but pull your right hip slightly back to the right. One more each side. Twist, hold, and twist to the other side, and hold. Feel the waist turn. And then unwind, and if you had your chair in front of you, you would just bend to the back of the chair and back your hips up and shift your hips from right to left with 2 straight legs. If you're on the wall, you just take your hands a little lower. If you're on the chair, maybe your hands to the seat of the chair. Back your hips up, shift to the right, and shift to the left. You can work on neutral rotation of your thigh bones the whole time. If you have your block, maybe go down to the highest height, hips over heels, shift your hips to the right, and shift your hips to the left. Back to center. How about lower? You can just have one block under your hands, back your hips up, shift your hips to the right, shift your hips to the left. Now, if your knees start to bend, then you're not going any lower. Come up higher. Otherwise, maybe take the blocks down again and shift your hips to the right and shift your hips to the left. And then come back to center. And if you want to, you can put your hands all the way down on the floor, shift your hips to the right and shift your hips to the left and come back to center. And sit back into a wide squat and open your arms out to your sides and press up and walk your feet into 3 and sit back. If you tend to thrust your ribs forward, watch that. You can ramp your head back a little bit, press up. Walk in a little closer, sit back, maybe the hips drop down and slide back a little more and press up and into hip distance apart and sit back and press up. Okay, so you have the back of the chair, which you can absolutely use, or you can turn so the seat of the chair is closer to you. If your spine rounds, use the back of the chair, other way, hands to the seat of the chair, sit back into a chair pose, and step your right leg back into a lunge. Push off that back foot, step up, feet straight, ankles hip distance apart, right hip hugs in. As left leg steps back, lengthen nice and long through that leg, and step back up. And right leg steps back, and then from here, lower the knee towards the floor, maybe tap it down, and lift and straighten. Do not do anything that feels like super intense in the muscles, or you can feel it around the joint. And lower, maybe tap down, and straighten back. Your arms are long to the chair. Lower, tap down, and straighten back. This time, lower, tap down, hold, stand up in your low lunge. Take with your, whichever foot is forward, you're gonna take your opposite arm up and over. And then reach your arms out to the sides and twist towards your front leg. Okay, so then you're coming back. You can either be at your chair, but the goal is to lean back a little bit or lean forward a little bit less as you lift and lower your knee. Or you can practice staying all the way upright and lift up, but keep your knee bent and tap down and lift up and tap down, pressing equally through the ball of the foot. Lift up, pubic bone forward if the back knee's staying bent. Tap down if you're leaning forward. It's okay to straighten that back leg as you come up and lift up. And everyone press all the way up. And then sit back, and whichever leg you had forward last time, switch. I think it was we were stepping our right leg back. So step your left leg back. Everyone stay leaning forward. Front ankle stays right under the knee as you bend the back knee and lengthen. Definitely doesn't have to touch the floor. And bend down nice and slowly and lengthen back. And tap down and lengthen back and tap down and lengthen back. And the next time you tap down, get your knee all the way down, stand up in your low lunge. If your right leg is forward, left arm goes up and over, otherwise the opposite. Steady feet. Reach your arms out to the side, twist your belly button towards your front leg, breathing. And it's great to do all these variations just for time. We're just gonna choose one. So you're gonna lean forward to the chair and maybe just try to lean forward a little less and straighten and bend with less leaning forward, but you're still slightly leaning forward to keep your lower back long, or you're keeping your lower back long by keeping your pubic bone forward and lifting and tapping down. Nice and slow. If there's any banging or falling, move less, breathing. 2 more like that. All right, and then next time your knee goes down, slide your front knee back to meet your back knee. Come on down to your forearms, tuck your toes under, flip your palms up, and with your belly relaxed and your tailbone high, rock forward, hips over knees, rock back, hips as close to the heels without your tailbone tucking under. And then you can stop anywhere from hips way back to hips over knees and pause and keep your ankles steady as you shift your hips side to side. Feel free to pause at any angle that feels good for you. All right, come up onto your hands, thumbs spread out, elbow pits wrap forward, rhomboid push-ups. Feel the armpits lift up, feel the upper back get wide. If you tend to hold a lot of tension in your upper shoulders, neck, walk your hands back a little bit and maybe relax your head for a while as you do your rhomboid push-ups. And you'll notice if your head wants to keep participating, that you tend to have that habit of really using your upper shoulder muscles. So it's both an exercise and an assessment tool for yourself. Couple more rhomboid push-ups. Sometimes it's just nice to do it too with the neck nice and long instead of ramped. Really use the palms of the hands. Keep wrapping those elbow pits forward. All right, from here, you're going to extend your right leg out to the right. Inner edge of the foot down, or you can do sole of the foot. You can have your hands higher on a block, any height, lowest height, medium height, highest height, 2 blocks or 1 block. And wherever you choose to be, you're going to shift your hips a little forward and back. Hip shift forward and back. Hip shift forward and back. Hip shift forward, hips over knee, and back. And then slide that leg in. Stretch your opposite leg out. Nice long leg, ankle, knee, and hip in line. Ground through the back foot as you shift forward and back. Hips over knee. Or excuse me, forward is hip over knee and back, hip towards the heel. At your own pace. Nice long leg. Pausing anywhere that you'd like to. All right, slide that leg in. Now take your hands wider than shoulder distance apart. Thumbs spread out, and let's do some rhomboid push-ups here. Again, you can really let your head hang sometimes. Ground through the tops of your feet. Palms of the hands press. Elbow pits keep wrapping forward. And it's very interesting. You'll just notice things about your body over time. Like when I really drop my head down, my elbow pits don't want to wrap forward as easily. What is that telling me? Probably need to practice more often with my head relaxed down. Lift up through those armpits. Lift up through your breastbone. All right, come back and stretch your right leg back out to the right. You can have the block any height or hands on the floor. And now you're just going to nice and slowly rotate your thigh bone. And it could be the tiniest little bit. Your toes barely lift up to rotating it further, but you're trying not to turn your hip. Because if your hip turns, you're actually moving at your spine. You're trying to just move your thigh bone and keep your hips square. Nice straight leg. Doesn't matter how small the movement is. Now, if you're here on all fours and your head is always hanging down, maybe do a little ramping now. Bring the block higher under your hands if your spine is really rounding. And slide that knee in and switch legs. Extend nice and long. Elbow pits wrap forward, top of the rhomboid push-up, and rotate. Any amount. Feeling and breathing. All right, slide that knee in, come up onto your knees, step 1 foot forward, any foot, tuck your back toes under, push down. Grab whatever you're using for a double calf stretch. You can be to the back of the chair, or you can fold to the seat of the chair. You can always put your blocks up to or blankets up so you're somewhere in between if you need that length for your spine. And then from here, pigeon toe your feet. And actually, you're going to want to be higher. I just realized that. And you'll see why in a moment. So come to the back of your chair, flip your chair around, pigeon toe your feet, hips back over heels, and then lift your heels up off the ground and very slowly lower back down. And lift your heels up off the ground very slowly lower back down. We'll do 2 each rotation. So switch, feet turn out to the side, heels down, balls of the feet up, and lift your heels up. Keep backing your thigh bones up and slowly lower down and lift your heels up. Press equally through the balls of the feet. Back your hips up as you slowly lower down. And then last but not least, outer edges of the feet straight. Back your hips up. Slowly lift up. Keep backing your thigh bones up. And lower your heels down. And lift your heels up. Back your thigh bones up. Press equally through the balls of the feet. Keep the balls of the feet equal as you lower down and come on up. Man, there's so much going on when it comes to the feet and the ankles that determines what's going on the rest of the way up the body. From here, just go ahead and come on down, go slow. Maybe take your feet a little wider if you know your hips are tight and just squat on down. Good. You can put something under your heels, a rolled up mat. If your heels don't come to the ground, that's a good way to practice for quite some time. Back your weight up into your heels, press down through the fronts of your feet. How about a little bit of rocking forward and back here? Breathing. Nothing should be hurting. And how about a little bit of rocking side to side here? Nice and slow. Your feet are very active. For those of you that can easily squat down, you're not just plopping yourself down. Your feet are pushing down to the floor. All right, and then from here, you're gonna come all the way down. And actually, we're gonna come onto our belly. So grab your strap. Come onto your belly. Lasso your strap around your ankle. So for a lot of people, it's just difficult to get the strap around the ankle and just kind of hold it there. So if you know how to tie a simple knot that's easy to get out, to put a loop around your foot, that is really helpful. I've seen that works a lot for a lot of people. So you could just loop it around your foot and keep the loop so that you can hold on someplace else on the strap. But from here, with pubic bone pressing down, you're just gonna let go a little bit and pull in a little bit. Let go a little bit and pull in a little bit. Let go and pull in a little bit and release a little and pull in a little bit. And then we'll switch sides. And whatever range of motion you're working on, I mean, it can be really tiny. Just make sure you're not feeling a sensation in your knee. Flex your ankle, get that loop around your ankle, pubic bone tilts down, and you're letting go a little bit and pulling in a little bit. You can, by the way, let your head relax all the way down. Let yourself be comfortable. Pubic bone presses down and release. Okay, tuck your right toes under. Press back through your heel, straighten your leg and roll. Try to keep all your toes close as you roll from big toe to pinky toe side of the foot. So it's a very attached rotation. You're not just kind of flopping from big toe to pinky toe side. By keeping all your toes closer to touching, it's a small rotation. And you're super straightening your leg. Pubic bone presses down to the floor. I would definitely have my spine relaxed down if it wasn't for the mic. It'll be nicer on your spinal alignment. All right, release and tuck your other toes under and press back through the heel. Straighten that leg, hips push down, and very small roll side to side. You're trying to keep as much of your toes connected to the floor as you can as you rotate your thigh bone. All right, release. Press up onto your knees. Cross your right knee behind your left knee. Split your lower legs apart. Try to keep your knees on the floor. You can be on your hands. You can put block under your forearms. You can put your forearms on the floor. And then from here, a little bit back and hips over knees. I've decided that this pose with this movement is one of my current new favorites. I have about 200 current favorites. You can stop with your hips anywhere and do side to side. Relaxing, clenching deep up into the groin area. All right, switch. Put your opposite knee behind. Split your lower legs apart. Even as you go back and forward, work in the range of motion where your knees stay on the floor. So it's okay for it to be smaller. Because remember, we're creating anchors to pull on the muscles. It might feel like more when your knees come up, but the anchor is no longer there, and so then you start pulling on other areas, sometimes more than the area you're working on. All right, stop anywhere and shift side to side. Let your breath flow. Be with your breath. All right, come on forward. Grab a block. Step your right foot forward. We're going to work on a pigeon lunge here and walk it out. So with your right foot forward, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe across the body. You're on the edge of your right foot, your ankles flex, your knee falls out to the right, and then push your hips back. You can have blocks under your hands, 1 block, 2 blocks. And then how about a little forward and back? Rock here. And then you can stop anywhere and go a little side to side. A little goes a long way. All right, walk that right foot out and go wide for a lizard pose. Edge of the foot still straight, bend the knee so it's right over the ankle. Back hips go forward. And how about a little bit back and forward here. Knee right over the ankle when you go forward. And back and forward. And back and forward. And back. And stop anywhere you'd like to, and a little shift side to side. Skip the shift if it bothers your knee at all. For me, it feels better to do like a really slow shift, going to one side and going to the other side. All right, push back, walk that foot in, slide it back, left foot forward, ankle walks across the body, edge of the foot, knee drops open. Arrange your blocks so that you feel steady. And then from here, a little bit forward and back. And I mean, we're just working one angle here. You could do your foot out a little more. You can do your foot in a little more. You can do your knee dropping open a little more. Sky's the limit. You could work on a neutral ankle more. Next time your hips go back a little side to side shift. All right, walk that left foot out and keep on going, going, going. You're in a wide lizard lunge. Edge of the foot straight, knee bends. Check that it's right over the hip. You can do hands on the blocks any height. You can put your hands on the floor. Back up, hips go towards your back knee. Go forward, knee goes over the ankle, hips go forward. And back and forward. Take your time, feel and breathe. And you can stop anywhere and go forward or side to side a little bit with your hips. All right, push back off your front foot, frog pose. Walk your knees nice and wide. Feet turn out to the sides. Try to start with your hips about in line with your knees. You can come down to your hands. You can come down to blocks on forearms. You can come down to forearms, but if it's very easy for you and you don't feel a lot of sensation, I highly recommend coming higher so that you're not just sinking into your joints. And let's go back and forward here. Try to touch more parts of your inner foot to the floor. Let that be one of your boundaries. And then pause anywhere. And how about a little wiggle side to side? Very small. It's like one hip goes back and then the other hip goes back. And then push down through your arms, slide your legs in, come onto your back, and we'll do some bridge lifts with our knees hip distance apart. Push down through your feet equally and press up. Feel the entire sole of the foot. Relax, clenching around your hips and thighs, and lower back down. And press up. So sometimes one thing I figured out, that's why the feet are just so connected to the hips. Let's say as you go up, you feel certain parts clenching more than others. Part of it could be clenching because you're not using that part of your foot. And if you start playing with what parts of your foot you're using, you might recognize that some of the clenching goes away because of the way you're using your foot or feet. And when you stop clenching some areas, you'll start working other areas working more. All right, next time your hips come down, let's walk our feet into a little bit of a wide bridge pose and do the same thing there. Give a lot of attention to what your feet are doing and your ankles. All right, from there, maybe slide something under your head and bring your knees up and roll just to the side of your hip. So try to keep your rib cage all the way down on both sides as you go side to side. So it's really just your hips going side to side, your waist turning side to side. And then let yourself go a little bit further, just like halfway, the ribs come up a little bit. Make sure you're not pushing down through your elbows or your arms. Come back slowly to work those waist muscles. And then put your hips down, scoot them a big hop to the left and 2-knee roll to the right. Stacking your knees, stacking your feet. Take your arms out to the sides and angel arms up and down by your sides. Don't let this hand behind you drop way below your shoulder. Keep it about the height of your shoulder. All right, push down through your right elbow to unwind. Scoot your hips back to center. Go a big hop over to the right. 2-knee roll to the left. Stacking your feet and your ankles a little closer. Reach your arms out and circle your arms up and down. And then push down through your left elbow to unwind with knees hip distance apart. Point both of your ankles and open and close your knees. Keep gently pointing your feet. And flex your ankles and open and close your knees. And spread all your toes wide and open and close your knees. And then give yourself a hug in. And you are ready for your final pose, Savasana. Let your palms flip up by your sides. Let your gaze soften or your eyes gently close. Become very present with your body and with your breath. Stay present with your body and with your breath. So I really didn't plan this, but at the beginning of class, I was talking about how important self-care is, especially when we feel like the most that we can't take care of ourselves. And it just so happens what I'm reading is 10 self-care reminders, so other things to think about when it comes to taking care of yourself. 1, if it feels wrong, don't do it. 2, say exactly what you mean. 3, speak positively about yourself and others. 4, don't be afraid to say yes. 5, don't be afraid to say no. 6, Be kind to yourself. 7, let go of what you can't control. 8, stay away from drama and negativity as much as possible. 9, make decisions based on love, not fear. That's my favorite. And 10, trust the timing of life. If you're ready to wiggle or rock or move, or if you just want to stay a few minutes longer, I can't encourage you enough to do that. But when you're ready, you can roll over to one side. Take a full breath, a full inhale, a full exhale, and then press yourself up to sit anyway. Bringing our hands together in gratitude for this day. Namaste.